Welcome back to Chicagoland. Dark clouds in the distance. Hopefully they are moving away from Joliet and toward the Windy City so we can get the track right here. We are here for final NASCAR Nationwide Series practice. We've been talking with some of the drivers here, and the next one up is Stanton Barrett, Bishop, California driver. Yes, he is the godson of actor Paul Newman. And, folks, he has a passion on and off the racetrack. He has paid money to drive fast on the racetrack, and he has paid money to drive fairly reckless off the racetrack as an accomplished Hollywood stuntman.
I taught him that move.
It's a really cool operation here with the techno crane, and being able to have the actor in this kind of position and do fast, high speed, fairly dangerous stuff if he was just driving alone, but he's really safe with a stunt guy and on this snowmobile. So, cool stuff today. As a stuntman's not just a guy that does something crazy. He's really a character. He's playing a part. I got involved with stunts because of my father. He was a really well-known stuntman in the industry and has been involved all my life.
I would like to say I inspired him, but I'd also like to say that, you know, I raised the bar for him.
I started stunts when I was 15, that's 20 years ago, and car racing was shortly after that.
Now, a friend of mine had a dash car. I said, we got to get Stanton to drive that car around the track. Big mistake. I get a call from him that night. He goes, Dad, I know what I want to do. I said, what's that? He said, I want to race. I went, oh, man.
You know, there are two industries that are very dangerous, and I respect them both. And I think when you take that mindset, it keeps you out of a lot of trouble. It can be a little bit difficult, but I have a good understanding what my career is here and in racing and other stuff. I think they have a lot of similarities. That's why my race team is probably as good as we are with what resources we have.
He can make a lot of money as a stuntman. I mean, he's one of the most respected stunt guys in the business. I mean, he gets, you know, calls to do stuff that, I mean, only he can do them. Stock car racing is tough, and it's not fair. If Stanton had really good equipment, I think he would really, really run very well. And he's had some good runs, even with the equipment he's had.
And he's got a great run going. He's trying hard. He's getting all out of his equipment he can.
You got to really respect Stanton what he's doing. Somebody that puts the money in, his own money, into his racing team like he's doing.
I mean, I'll bet you he's put of his own money, he's put millions of dollars that he's made as a stuntman into his racing.
The sport's complicated. Every day you're getting thrown with stuff. The technology changes constantly. The industry changes. It's one of the toughest sports in the world. If I have a challenge, I'm a huge underdog with the resources that we have. I mean, you can see our shop. We're working at 3,000 square foot shop full of race cars, and just the right amount of equipment to build and do what we need to do. And I mean, I love the sport. I love competition. I came to race, and that's what I got hired to do. I go to the movie set. I got hired to either get blown up or drive a car or get really good shots or do things that they need and they trust me to do.
Just a good guy to have around and someone that you could depend on and know that if you need him, he's going to be there when you want it.
So just to be in NASCAR at the level that we are and be competitive, to me, is really successful, especially with the resources that I've had and how hard I've had to work to get to where I am, owning a team and being involved at such a high level of athletes. I mean, that to me is success and the attitude that I try to approach my career with.
And we are joined by Stanton Barrett here in the pit studio. Stanton, I've known you a long time, and I've always wanted to say this to you. Are you nuts? I mean, seriously, which is more dangerous, what you do on the racetrack or what we saw with you jumping cars and flipping cars end over end as a stuntman?
I think respectively they fall hand in hand. You can't take either one for granted, and you really need to pay attention to all the details like I mentioned there and to protect yourself. And NASCAR's implemented really great resources for drivers to maintain a safe racing vehicle and, you know, minimize what risks that we have on the racetrack, and the same stuff that we do on a movie set. You know, it's about minimizing our risks but also taking the risk and going for it.
Before we talk racing, these guys want to talk to you. What is the wildest stunt you have ever done? I mean, what's the thing that even made you cringe? I know you guys are pretty fearless when you do those stunts, and your dad was the same way.
Nothing that really makes you cringe. Definitely makes you nervous and gets your attention. And you got to be on top of your game and do it right. Just like qualifying, you're more nervous qualifying than you are racing, just because what's at risk. And there's so many fine little details that if you're off at all, it's going to really affect the outcome of that particular event. So I really like that car crash that I did. You saw the Mustang flipping visually. That's a pretty amazing stunt. And knocked the crap out of me. It was it's violent. Some of that stuff's really violent. You flipped your race car several times, and you know with the violence that's involved in the impact. So there's a lot of other things around helicopters and getting blown up, set on fire. There's so many different aspects of a stunt that could go wrong or that are complicated if you're not either qualified or you don't do your homework. You're going to get hurt. So every one I take as serious as even the easiest little gunshot.
What do? Do you take any of the things from NASCAR, the safety things, the Hans devices, and some of the head support that we have? Do you implement any of that into the stunt?
I do. I implement a lot into the car flips and car crashes, which has been a lot of fun because a lot of guys back in Hollywood and around really respect what I bring to the table, and they see the seats that I put in, and using a Hans device, being the first one to implement those kind of things. Also the seats, the headrests, the leg restraints. I wear my motocross boots instead of driving shoes, so there's a lot of things that I implement from other sports and NASCAR too. So I know that I can take the impacts, and I've seen drivers flip and impacts that we take on the racetrack, and I talk to NASCAR, study the telemetry, and kind of get an idea of what danger zones are. And so when you go do your stunt, you know kind of what the risks are and what kind of impacts you're going to take and potential danger there, and I rig my stuff accordingly. I mean, I rig it to do anything, but you know what you can get away with, and that gives you really the confidence. I'm going to go, and I don't have to worry too much about getting hurt, and I can focus on my job, focus on my spots, focus on timing, and get the right shot for the director. So there's a lot to it, and yes, I definitely, the sport's really helped me over there and helped a lot of stunt guys.
Stanton, we heard your father in that piece talking about you spend so much of your own money racing. You're obviously fast. And when I see you qualify out there, you're just wide open. You're going quick. You're definitely a real fast driver. You got that natural talent. You ever thought about taking a lot of that money to a team that's already running strong? Like, I think about the 21 car with Richard Childress. I think about guys like that could use a sponsor. You ever thought about going to them and say, stick me in this thing?
I have before. I've worked with a few teams, and I had the opportunity to race with Roush for 15 races, and our sponsor had some difficulties, and they had to fold that operation, and that was a great experience, and we didn't have all the resources that he normally puts forth because from the beginning it was a real tough situation, and Jack really did a lot for me there and kept the team going for a good half of the season, and it was a great opportunity. I learned a lot. But as far as this business is extremely difficult. It's a dog-eat-dog world, and the trust a lot of people out there, it's not really. I'm 35 years old, and everybody's looking for the next young guy, and I think I bring a lot to the table, having 18 years in NASCAR and then owning a team and working on the cars and understanding all the aspects of what it takes to operate and provide a pretty decent piece of equipment out there. And I think part of it is leveraging the relationships with the sponsorship. You lose a lot of that when you start dealing with other teams and other organizations. And I think the cost structure from really what I can afford to get sponsors at and what teams need to operate is quite a bit different. So, I think once you go in one direction, you completely lose momentum. And I think it's just, late in my career, you got to figure out where the best option is to go and what's going to give you the longest potential to keep on the racetrack. I've thought about it, and I do talk to teams, and I'm talking to teams right now as well. So it's just whatever comes at the best, opportunity at the best time, and what I think it can have as far as resources and the best